everyone. It's Thursday, June 11th, and we are here with your COVID-19 update. I'm Karen Connolly from the Board of Selectmen, and I'm here with our town administrator, Jim Boudreau. I'd like to say that the Board of Selectmen the other night at our meeting approved outdoor seating at 9 restaurants in Scituate, which is great news. They include the Barker Tavern, the Hibernian Tavern, which is not even open yet, they're new, the Mill Wharf Oro in its new location, the Rivershed, the Voyage, the new Salt Society, which is in the old Oro, the Galley, and Riva. The hours we decided on were Sunday through Thursday, 11 to 8 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 to 10 p.m. That is very good news, and we certainly hope that everyone is happy to know that there's something to do down in the harbor now and around Scituate. Jim, do you have your update?
Yeah, I'll pick up on that first. As Karen said, the board approved the outside seating. In addition to what she mentioned, the board did approve the closing of Front Street for the Galley restaurant, and that is going to be those same hours, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but also Sunday from 1 to 8. Front Street right now will be closed between Beale Place and Otis to allow the Galley to get out on the street. If other restaurants come back and wish to be out on Front Street, the board has authorized me to approve that with the closures. And I think the board is hoping that more restaurants will do it, that the retailers will put their stuff out, and we'll have almost like a sidewalk bazaar down there and drive some foot traffic. The closure will start this week on Saturday. The Galley is not quite ready to go out on the street, so we'll start it on Saturday. And then next week, again, it'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. So on the COVID case, in Scituate itself, we've had no additional COVID cases. So since Thursday, the Scituate cases have been 0. We did have 5 additional cases yesterday at the Life Care Center, so those numbers keep going up. Again, the nature of this virus, we don't know whether these are people testing positive again, new positive tests. We just get that this number of people tested positive. So there's 5 additional cases at the Life Care Center. We would expect at this point to see cases in Scituate start to rise if we were having any type of bounce from Memorial Day. That has not happened, so people are following the rules. When you do the outside dining, again, there are very specific protocols, very specific rules, so we ask that you make sure you keep following those as you go along. The library, again, is doing curbside pickup. That's available Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 10 to 3. You can only choose from the library's catalog. You can't choose from the Old Colony catalog because the Old Colony is not up and running yet. But you can call or go online, put a hold on a book, and make arrangements to pick that up at the library. Drop-off is anytime in the drop-off book depository outside. We're working on getting the library open so people can go back in there. Again, we're looking for library-specific protocols, which we haven't had, and we really don't want either Scituate or any town down here to be the only ones opening their library. We think that'll just cause too much of a crowd. I think there's a big pent-up demand for people to get back in the library. So we'll update you every week on that, but right now you can do book pickup and drop-off at the library. The town hall is back to full staff. We brought the staff back this week, so everybody is here. Starting next Monday, June 15th, people can come to the town hall and make appointments to come in. It'll be by department. Each department will be responsible for their own appointments and for deciding whether or not what you request to do requires an appointment. Those things that you can do online, like beach stickers, like transfer stickers, will continue to be done online. Those will not rise to the need to come into the town hall for an appointment. But, I know there's some planning, building, conservation. I know some veterans issues. People just need to come in and sit down with someone. So call the individual office, make an appointment, and you'll be able to start coming into the town hall next week. When you get here, you'll have to call the office, let them know you're here. They will let you in. They will take contact information from you, name, email, and a phone number you can be reached at. That's required under the new guidelines for contact tracing. This past Tuesday night, the Financial Forecast Committee met to discuss the FY21 budget. By unanimous vote, they agreed that the revenue we will base the FY21 budget on for next year will be a 10% reduction in state aid from fiscal year 2020 levels. There's also some reduction in the meals tax and some other smaller accounts. This is about a reduction of about $1.5 million from what the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Board had approved earlier in the year. We will be scheduling meetings with the Board of Selectmen and the Advisory Board next week, I hope, to approve these, and then we'll get them out to the voters to look at before town meeting. Town meeting is going to be outside June 27th. We're working on the setup on that. As we get closer, we'll set the setup, the seating, and what all the protocols are going to be for people coming in. It'll be the same as your protocols for everything else. You will need to wear masks. You will need to social distance. If anybody uses the microphones after they speak, the microphones will be sanitized on an individual basis. So we'll do the best we can. And again, there's going to be, for the annual town meeting, my proposal is going to be consent agenda for approved items, a consent agenda to postpone items, and then a very limited set of items that I will be proposing for individual consideration. As always, if someone wants something on either of the consent agendas to be debated, they can just hold it. It comes out of the consent agenda, and we add it to the list of those things to be debated.
So, Jim, on the issue of consent agenda, maybe not everyone understands that what it means is that a whole group of articles would be grouped together, and we would vote on that whole group instead of having to vote it individually, which makes the meetings go much longer.
Correct. And
But if someone objects to the consent agenda, something that's on it, they can say, I want to talk about that article.
so the moderator would take the consent agenda. He would read the number of each article on the consent agenda, 1, 9, whatever they are. 22, if someone says hold, then that comes out of the consent agenda and goes back into order to be debated in turn with all the rest of the articles. And then the consent agenda to pass, all in favor of passing these articles, we would pass it. The consent agenda to postpone would be a vote to postpone the articles all at once. And again, anything that is not budgetary or what we think is an immediate important nature, I'm going to propose that it get postponed until a fall town meeting. When that will be, again, is going to depend upon what happens with the coronavirus. Saturday is the town election from 9 to 2. We ask people to take all necessary precautions when coming in. They're the same for everything else, social distancing, masks. You will get a pen when you come in. You will vote. You'll drop the pen into a bucket on your way out, and those will be sanitized as the day goes on, depending on how many we need. So people need to get out and vote. And again, 9 to 2 at the high school. 2 more items real quick. From our water department, we are still seeing extremely high water use. We will be sending out an email blast today to everybody asking that they conserve water. And I think today or tomorrow we will probably be doing a reverse 911 call to people. We are still averaging better than 1 million gallons a day through the treatment plant. That generally does not happen until July. So we're using a lot of water. Before 9, after 5, for hand watering, automatic irrigation systems, there is a 1-day-a-week limit on irrigation systems, and it's by precinct. So you need to look up and find out when your precinct is open for irrigation. Fines are $100 a day. We don't want to get to those, but if we have to, we will. I mean, we have a lot of water right now, but at the rate we're using it, it'll just push us into a drought situation early if we don't get rain. Last 2 things, green sand filter, people should see that starting shortly up off Tack Factory Pond, and also the Squashcut Berm project. People should see that starting within the very near future. People just need to be aware, especially on the surf side, there's going to be several hundreds of trucks full of stone that will be going down that road over several months. So we'll try to do the best we can to not be disruptive, but it's the only way in and out of there, and that has to be repaired because it protects a lot of homes in behind it. So we apologize in advance for any inconvenience, but it's a project that needs to get done, and we'll be starting that very shortly. That's what I have for today.
Great, Jim, thank you. I guess what I'll say to you is, the good news is I feel as though we're going in a positive direction now. So instead of saying what you can't do, we're now more of what we can do, and it's slow, but it's the right direction. And I think we all hope that everyone continues to do the things that they should do, wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance, so that we don't have to backtrack. So I think it's much better news than we've had in quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, we're one other thing. We have temporary signs for the playgrounds. Those will be going up today or tomorrow, so the playgrounds will be opened up once we get the temporary signs up. The permanent signs will take another couple days. People should be aware that it is not a requirement that the parks be sanitized on a daily or even on any basis. So we will not be sanitizing the parks. We don't have the supplies or the people to do that. That will be on the sign. It'll say the parks aren't sanitized, so you need to be very careful when you leave the parks. Hand washing, social distancing. We're also checking them to make sure that we have sufficient distance between swings and things like that. but the parks will be open either today or tomorrow is what I'm hoping. And then we're in phase 2. Originally there was phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now there's phase 1, phase 2, and now there's a part 2 of phase 2, which will start at some point. We don't have a definitive date. And that will be a little more loosening, including some interior of restaurants, which is good. Phase 3, right now, if all goes well, is June 29th, and that's a further loosening, and I believe also a loosening of the restrictions on how many people can gather at once. So would like to get guidance sooner than we do, but we get it, we turn it around as fast as we can, and now we're starting to see potentially what school's going to look like next year, and those guidelines are problematic to say the least. So we're going to keep looking at those and see what education year 2020, 2021 is going to look like, hopefully very shortly, so we can prepare.
Well, I'm also sure that at some point, once the schools have decided how they're going to proceed, that we could use one of these broadcasts to bring in the new superintendent to talk about, how school is going to look. And I will say that, I have a niece with young children, and they're very concerned about school. And in my opinion, opening the schools is probably the top priority in most towns. How do we do it? When do we do it? What's the best way to do it? And so we understand the anxiety that people are having about that, but people are working very hard to try to figure it out. So at any rate, thank you very much, Jim,
Thank you.
and see you on next Monday, right?
Monday.
Yeah. All right, thank you.